Okay, so I've decided to bite the bullet and start a vlog about my gardening, in my garden and at the allotment. Something I've been thinking about for a few weeks and been putting off. But yeah, I'm just going to go for it. So today I think I'm going to show you around the garden and the allotment, just to show you what we've been doing, what we're going to do, and what a mess it is. It's kind of annoying that there's been quite a bit of content over the last, say, 2 or 3 weeks that would have been really good to put into a vlog, but because I've been stalling and just thinking, I can't do that, I haven't got it on camera, and it would have been quite good stuff. So I'll tell you about some of that as we go around. So firstly, don't talk about the plants in front of the nose, okay? They don't like it. So this is the apple tree, which this year is absolutely thriving. I mean, you can see that there's so many apples. It's doing wonderfully, and the blossom is beautiful. It was absolutely covered. This is probably its best year, and a lot of the reason for that is because we only moved it to this spot here in the corner last year. Before that, it was just over here in this middle bed, and it was quite unprotected, and it kept blowing down, so actually it lived for about 18 months laying on its side, which is why we moved it, and it's a lot more secure here, and it's doing really well. So what I've done over the last couple of weeks, I've removed all the weeds from this corner bed, covered it in cardboard and covered it in wood chip to stop the weeds coming back. So that bit's looking pretty good now. The only thing is maybe finding something to put in the back corner that doesn't mind a shady spot, because that is quite a shady spot. So the middle flower bed here, as you can see, it's got this wild rose bush, which is actually been absolutely battered by the wind over the last few days. So the garden's been absolutely covered in petals. Looks like there's a bit of a wedding going on. But the rose bush itself, despite being a bit flattened by the wind, is absolutely thriving as well. We were going to dig it up and move it last year, but we couldn't get it up because the roots were too established. But I think that's been a good thing, because it's absolutely loving its spot here. It's covered in flowers. We did trim it back in March time, but it didn't listen, and it went even more wild. But yeah, so we're gonna have to cut it back a bit more next year, I think, but absolutely thriving. So the other thing that's been in the garden for a little while is the lilies. They've come up again really nicely this year. I don't know how many years ago I planted them, but they have been doing really well. Last year, on the tall ones, we had about 30 flowers, and they were huge. They were like well over, I don't know, probably about 5.5, 6 foot tall. So we've got a few there and a few here. So we're going to plant other things alongside them. So they're doing really well. The other things here that I've had for a while, some aren't doing very well. So these are rose bushes I got at the same time as this one. Well, as you can see, they're doing very differently. This one probably is dead. My fault, because we've had a lot of warm weather over the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks, up until this week anyway. And he didn't water them, and there's not much in the, as you can see, they've not got much soil compost in there, so dried out. So that one's not looking very well. The other one looking okay. So I think maybe I can move that one, put that one somewhere else, and maybe it will come back. But yeah, the other one maybe not. So next I'll show you the new plants, which I only put in yesterday. Most of the new plants that I've got, or that are on their way in the next few weeks, I got from Sutton's, which I know it's a big sort of seed manufacturer, but I've bought those from them in the past, and I've always found them all right. And the things that arrived yesterday, well, I'll tell you about them as I go around. Mostly okay. Some are a bit questionable. So this was 24 plug plants, and these are geraniums. So these ones were alright actually, because they're quite small. The way they were packaged didn't really cause them any trouble. And I've planted them in there, and they're looking alright so far, so hopefully they'll grow quite quickly. And then in this other bed, these are the begonias, which also were plug plants, but they were a bit bigger. And because they were a bit bigger, they were a bit tangled around each other. A couple of them broke when I took them out. But on the whole, looking okay. A couple of them looking slightly limp. I mean, I made sure I gave them some water last night, but hopefully as they get a bit stronger, they will grow and recover. These three little guys down here doing all right. These will hopefully be climbing plants. I can't remember the name, Jasminius something, I have to look it up. And then hopefully they will here climb up the pergola as they grow. Apparently they are evergreen climbers, so that's something I've been looking for a while. Tried clematis before, but they just died off every year. So hopefully these will turn into a lovely green wall up the pergola. Then we got marigolds. They look pretty healthy as plants, but the way they were packaged again meant that some of the tops are snapped. Mostly it's just one flower that snapped, like as you can see here. But then also we've got one plant, perhaps it's, I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, the whole top of the plant had come off. It snapped over. So pretty sure they'll recover because they do look really well. But well, we'll see. I forgot to say I've also planted sunflower seeds in here. So they can, once they grow, we can put them in strategic places around the garden. This here, stick with buds, as you see, is actually a miniature cherry tree. So it'll be really interesting to see how that kind of grows over time, and hopefully next year maybe we'll see some blossom, maybe some fruit. So that as a whole is the upper part of the garden. I've got plenty more plants on order to sort of fill up those top two planters that are still empty, and to fill up the gaps in the other ones. Quite a few things, so I'll take you through them as they arrive and as we put them in. So one of the jobs that we've done is we've moved the shed. It was here in this space, sort of by the gate, and a few days ago in the rain we emptied it, moved it over here, and filled it back up again. Got quite wet. It's in a much better spot there. It feels a bit more open over here now. The idea was when the greenhouse arrives, which should be today, exciting, we were going to put the greenhouse here, but then we've changed our mind actually, and we're going to put it over here instead. The pond is emptied now, as you can see, or pretty much. It did get rained in again, but because we are going to move it here, you can see the shape on the floor where it's going to be. We emptied it, I think it was Monday morning. The water, as you can see there, was so murky and disgusting and dirty and full of algae. We didn't think there was anything alive in there. But when the water level got really low down, we discovered 6 goldfish, to our surprise. So what we had to do is go to Facebook, post on one of the local groups and say, can anyone take these goldfish and put them in their pond? It was quite diligent with it, and I said, I want to see pictures of your ponds, make sure they're big enough. Yeah, and luckily somebody came forward whose pond was just ready to take them, so they've gone to a new home and a bigger, better pond. So really glad about that. But yeah, it was a bit of a stress, the empty pond and the 6 fish, and going, what are we going to do? But luckily, yes, some lovely people came and took them and gone to an even better home. And then we've got this bed down here, which is going to need sorting out soon, because I had a notification from Suttons that the shrubs that I'm going to put in there are in the way. So basically it's going to be a case of taking out that old weed matting, trying to get up as many stones as possible, and then seeing if we can dig through it with a fork, because actually the ground under there is so hard and compacted that it could be a bit of a challenge. But I'm wanting to plant straight into this bed. And then we've got this bottom part of the garden here by the back door. So we've got a whole load of rubbish to get rid of. But we're not going to do that until we have the other exciting thing that's arriving is a huge shed, which is gonna go past the trampoline over in this area. So it's going to be moving a lot of stuff out of the garage and putting some of it in the shed. It's going to be a bit of work, but it's going to make life a lot easier. It's going to mean that we can get to the gym, which is in the garage. So the rubbish will go after we've done that in case we need to add any more to the pile. So that's another exciting thing. That's happening next Friday. Someone's going to come and build the shed for us. Oh, and this stack of scaffolding boards here is actually for the allotment. We're going to turn them into raised beds. They've been here for a little while, so that's a job we need to get on with, but we keep sort of adding jobs to the list and yeah, making it so we've got too much to do, so they get pushed down the list a bit. But over the next couple of months, hopefully we'll get all that stuff done. So we're very lucky actually to have such a big space outside. So this area here is a front garden. So we thought it was a good idea to have decking, and it does make a lovely huge big flat space, which is wonderful. But what happens is in the winter it gets extremely slippy, so we're thinking we're going to need to kind of make some changes on the front garden here. We do have planters around the edges with nothing in at the minute, and the soil's sort of diminished. So I've pulled all the weeds out, apart from this one actually, the Welsh poppy. I think it's really pretty, so I've decided to leave that one in for now. There are daffodils that come up sometimes here, and obviously in spring, and there would have been tulips, but the dogs dug them up, so there's lots of work to do here. We don't know actually if we're just going to replace the decking with composite maybe, and then add a couple more planters. Yeah, we're yet to decide, but obviously time and money and all those sorts of things, so this will probably be one of the last things we get to. So what I've just decided to do is bring outside my tomato plants and my cucumbers. They've been living in the utility room. When the weather's warm, I was bringing them outside every day, bringing them back in at night, but when the weather hasn't been so good, I've not been doing that. And now they're getting bigger. I think they need some more air, they need more light, so I'm going to risk it and bring them outside. As you can see down there, cucumber's even flowering already, so yeah. You can see how they do out here. I was hoping to get them to the allotment. See, there's Kiwi. You'll hear her. We say her name and complain at her because she's kind of annoying. Get off. But yeah, you might see her in our garden. Our lovely cockapoo, cute but annoying. Yeah, anyway, so I'm going to see how these plants fare out here. Yeah, I was hoping to get them to the allotment, but the greenhouse there, as I'll show you, had no door on it. So when we had a lot of wind over the winter, it blew some of the windows out, so it needs some repair before we can get anything in there. So I'm now on my way to the allotment. Some of my journey there is kind of nice, as you can see. We're in the woods. There's housing estates either side, but the middle bit is all good. Quite a steep hill on the way up, but I get there if I go slowly. And it's really nice to see the bluebells, hear the birds, see all the trees come to life. It's really nice. I walk here because my eyesight's not good, so I can't drive. So it's either walk here about 20 minutes or if I've got something heavy to carry, maybe get an Uber, about £5. So walking, much preferable. So here we are, plot 15. Okay, so we're here in the shed, which I'll show you around in a minute. It decided to start raining as soon as I arrived. Okay. So here, I need to do some watering today. This is one of the things I need to do. But we've got some sunflowers peeking through now. We've got radishes. We've got lots of lettuce. We've got beetroot. And we've got kale. And we've got now a few peas and beans that have sprouted, which hadn't before, so that's good news. Here we've got some corn, a couple of pumpkins, one of them's looking like it really needs to get out of there and move on, and a couple of sunflowers that have come through here now. These ones, I didn't think they were going to grow. I think they dried out a bit at first, so now they've had a bit more water, which they need a bit more of today. I think, yeah, maybe we'll have plenty of sunflowers. I should say, I've absolutely zero idea where any of this is getting planted out because I don't have areas prepared yet. So something we need to work on quite quick, I'd say. Okay, so outside, I have here a gooseberry bush, which was a few sticks not long ago, so that's doing really well. One bit of rhubarb, actually. I had 3, but didn't plant them out quick enough and they dried out, sadly. A wonderful bed of strawberries. I wonder if some are ready to pick today, actually. Some are looking quite red, look. And they're doing really well. Blueberries, quite a small plant. I'm not sure what's happened to this one. It's lost some of its leaves and it looks like it's kind of been dug up. Not sure who's responsible for that. Here we've got some onions and garlic just at the other side. Little bit of what might be leaf rust, but generally doing okay. And then here, these were planted a bit later, not too sure. Red onions and shallots maybe. And the bindweed. I spent quite a bit of time last time I was here, not even a week ago, getting all of that out, and now look at it, there's so much. And the potatoes that I planted, I've not planted many, but they are now doing really well. Some of them hadn't come up for quite a while, but they seem to have caught up now and they're looking great. So I think what I'll stick in here is a video that I took when I first got the plot. Maybe a few pictures as well too, so you can see what has changed, because it still looks really rough, but it is better than it was in many places. So yeah, so maybe we'll put that in here, and then I'll do a walk up now so you can see everything that's here at the moment and what we've got to do. So something I'm a bit confused about, okay? This here is the back of an old van. Don't know why it's here. I don't want it here. I don't need it here. There's plenty of storage. Last time I came, that door was attached. So I don't know what's happened to that. If it's wind that's done that, or human hand. Though I don't know why anyone would do that, because you just opened the catch and opened the door, it wasn't locked. So that's a bit of a mystery. But yeah, definitely want rid of that somehow, though I don't know how that's going to happen. So I'm not sure that that is going to fit out of that gate. So one of my jobs today is to find out the measurement of this here straight bit of glass at the corner of the greenhouse glass for this triangle shaped window. Because we need 2 replacements for these, and obviously this little cut off corner here, the size of that would make a massive difference to the angle of the triangle which goes up. So I couldn't get the tape measuring very well, so I came up with a tactic. I got this bit of grass and I broke it until it was exactly the same size as, I can't do this with holding the phone as well, exactly the same size as that length there. So that's my extremely accurate way of measuring this corner cut off here. At least the weed came in useful for something. Now when I measure that bit of reed on the tape measure, looks to be about 38 mil. But I'll take it home and check with a flat tape measure. Oh look, a stray beetroot seed in the lettuce. I must have dropped it on the way past. I'll leave it now, see how it does. So the blueberry plant that looks a bit bedraggled and it was sort of dug up. I think it might be because there's water dripping off the roof here and landing right onto where it was. So I've moved it forward a little from the corner to see if that's what it is. Just looks a bit uneven in there now, but okay. If that makes the blueberry plant survive, then so be it. So off I go walking home in the rain, sadly. But we'll be back here quite a bit over the weekend, so get some harder work done then, rather than me just kind of pottering about and showing you around like today. But at least we've got the plants in there watered, and at least we've got the measurement for the greenhouse glass that we needed. So hopefully we can get that fixed up really soon. Right, a nice wet walk home then. So I'd just like to say a big thank you for watching my first ever YouTube video, and hopefully there'll be many more, because as you can see there's a lot to do in the garden and the allotment. So thanks for watching. What do YouTubers say? Like, subscribe and turn on the notifications. I'll see you soon.